So I will talk about English Hinglish. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this idea of Hinglish. I belong to India and I am an assistant professor in Dhaka University. This is my home. That's the first one. So I thought to talk about English and Hinglish, the concept of code switching, like we Indians, we keep talking, and just like the presenter, the first one, she was talking about how you keep on code switching from Arabic to English and English to Arabic. Same way we have this idea, and we started to talk about it as English. So first, I would like to okay, can I? Okay. So what is English Hinglish? So World Englishes is a term for emerging localized or indigenized varieties of English, especially varieties that have developed in territory into. Okay, so I would start with what is English, then I would like to comment on what is Hindi. So, and Hinglish then. So let's see what's World Englishes first. And since I will be focusing on Hinglish, which is Hindi and English mixture. Okay, so World Englishes is a term for emerging, localized, or indigenized varieties of English, especially varieties that have developed in territories influenced by United Kingdom and United States. As we all know that India was colonized by British. So, the study of World Englishes consists of identifying varieties of English used in diverse social linguistic context globally, and analyzing how social linguistic histories, multicultural backgrounds, and context of function influence the use of English in different regions of the world. The issue of World Englishes was first raised in 1978 to examine concept of regional Englishes globally. Pragmatic factors such as appropriateness, comprehensibility, and interpretability justified the use of English as an international and intranational language in 1988 at the Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages, which is called TESOL, which is very famous in Saudi Arabia right now. Conference in Honolulu, Hawaii, the International Committee of Study of World Englishes, which is ICWE, was formed. In 1992, the ICWE formally launched the International Association for World Englishes, which is IAWE, at a conference of World Englishes today. At the University of Illinois, USA, there are two academic journals devoted to the study of this topic titled English Worldwide. This is the title of the journal. And World Englishes. They came consequently in 1980 and 1982. There are a number of published handbooks and textbooks on the subject. Currently, there are approximately 75 territories where English is spoken either as a first language, which is L1, or as unofficial or institutionalized second language, which is L2, in fields such as government, law, and education. It is difficult to establish the total number of Englishes in the world, as new varieties of English are constantly being developed and discovered. Now let's talk about what is Hinglish. So it's kind of a portmanteau of Hindi and English. It's like now a used term so much is the macaronic hybrid use of English and languages of Indian subcontinent involving code switching and translanguaging between these languages, whereby they are freely interchanged within a sentence or between sentences. The word Hinglish was first recorded in 1967. Other colloquial portmanteau words for Hindi-influenced English include Hindish, it is another word, recorded from 1972, and Hindlish in 1985, and Henglish in 1993, and Hindlish in 2013. While the name is based on the Hindi language, it does not refer exclusively to Hindi, but is used in India, with English words blending with Punjabi, Gujarati, Marathi, and Hindi, and also in British Asian families to enliven standard English. Sometimes, though rarely, English is used to refer to Hindi written in English script and mixing with English words or phrases that I will talk in the later slides. Like this. So if you look at this, this is the ad of Amul. If you all know about this, is a butter which is very famous in India, and there is always a very intellectual ad of Amul on the roads every day, and they just do the posters, and they are intellectual and they're nice. So what's written on the poster, one of the posters, English हमारी संस्कृति का हिस्सा है. So it's written in English. We call it Roman English, or we call it Hinglish. Why? Because it contains Hindi and English together. like English is written in English, and this rest of the words are in Hindi, but they are written in Roman English. English हमारी संस्कृति का हिस्सा है, which means that English is part of our culture. Okay. And if you look at the ad, it's here it's written, the child is looking at us and writing on it Angrezi, and I have seen in Arabic it's called Injilizia. So it's almost like English is becoming Angrezi or Injilizia or like this, and kind of a translanguaging of word English. And if you look at the word Amul, it's carrying the line which is most of the times used in Hindi. Whenever we use write Hindi, we have to put we have to put a dashed line kind of thing here, which they have put on English, like to make it more English. Okay. And it's written tasty in any language. So the ad of Amul is so Englishized and so much into translanguaged that we just cannot get out of the idea of English. Okay. I would like to just give you a little bit about what is Hindi here before moving on to the next slide. Hindi has an approximately 10th century history. In this period, has accommodated several linguistic influences. Contact with Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic, and Turkish languages has led to historical mixes or fusions. Just like, whenever you talk to somebody in Arabic, you will see lots of words we can relate from Hindi, what we speak in India, the word yani. So we all the time say the word yani. And when I came to Saudi Arabia and I heard people saying yani, I was like, oh my God, this we speak all the time, and this is something Arabic. So Hindi has like adopted lots of Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic, and Turkish languages, which has led to a fusion of languages or mix of it. And we call it Hindustani. You will see it in the Bollywood movies, Hindustani or Rekhta. We call it in Urdu. Linguistic fusions were celebrated by Bhakti poets. Bhakti poets were called one of the times of the poets we study in Hindi literature, who used to write in mix of the languages. You will find a lot of Urdu and Arabic words in the Hindi language and also in Sanskrit. In approximately the 15th to 17th century, that's khichdi, and we started to call it khichdi boli. So what is khichdi? The word khichdi means when you mix rice and pulses together and make when you're not feeling well, so what do? Basically, you try to eat something light, so we call it khichdi. So it's like you call it khichdi because you have mixed and blended two languages in such a way that it started to look like a language. People no more know the other word for it. That's what we call, or amalgamation of the different languages into one sentence, that you just can't understand that this word is from English and this is from Hindi and this is from Urdu. Okay. And at the turn of the 18th century, with the rising dominion of East India, how it came into existence, of the East India Company, which was found in India at the time of Mughals, when the Mughal Empire was there in India in 1600s, when the Britishers went to India to colonize it, and they called it Company Raj. So the word Raj is basically a word of Hindi and Urdu together, which means a rule. And company is an English word, and they literally they started to call it company rule. So it's basically company rule, but started to call it Company Raj. The language of India were brought into contact with the foreign element of English. In colonized India, English became a symbol of authority and a powerful hegemonic tool to propagate British culture, including Christianity. The political ascendancy of British reflected into social and professional roles. This meant that the legal system, as well as the studies in medicine and sciences, were conducted in English. This led to an interest in promotion of English into society of Indian natives. And that's why we call it English hamari Sanskriti ka hissa hai. Means English is a part of our culture. Because we have been into so much into English that we just can't get out of it. Now let's see the next slide. Okay, so this is one of the examples of how word English is by the end of the century. Everyone will be speaking in code switches, and English is a dominant language all over the world. Everybody is code switching with English. Like everybody speaks English without conscious effort. Like it comes out from your by the habit. Like okay, the word okay is said by everybody. Like if something belongs to your language. So it's one of the pictures which I liked, like somebody is from the village is talking to somebody, maybe saying something in Arabic, or maybe in Hindi, or especially this guy looks like Indian, so of course he's like mixing and code switching. I will show you some examples. Like here, if you look at the keyboard here, we have in India keyboards having the word of Hindi. Like here it's written B on Y, in Sa it's U, and G and D and J. So these are the pronunciations of these words which are there in every language, but they look different. Like one of the examples I will give you, most of the times people say, this is I've written jab main choti thi, when I was small. So most of the times people say, sometimes, when they start saying something, when I was small, so they start code switching and they speak in Hindi, and quickly they will get back to their language. Or you say, that's it, bas itna hi. That's it, bas itna hi, that's it. So most of the times we, rather than saying bas itna hi, we say that's it. Or jab meri shaadi hui, when I got married. So these are some words which are most of the times code switched into Hindi with Hinglish. And then this is very interesting. English in cinema, Bollywood, as we Indians come from the culture of Bollywood. So this is one of the movies I really liked. It was English, where Shri Devi, she died 3 years ago, and there was a good introduction. So she says in this movie English, मर्द खाना बनाए तो कला है, औरत बनाए तो उसका फर्ज है. It means that if a man is cooking, it means he's an artist, he's a chef. He will be praised for it. If a woman is cooking, it's like it's her duty. She's not doing anything big, she should have been doing it. So here she raises this issue. If she is trying to learn English, she is a typical Indian wife who is supposed to be cooking all the time and not taking care of the children and the husband. She's not supposed to learn English, and her children, they are in English schools. They come from schools, and they talk to their father in English, and she's continuously looking at her children, thinking that she doesn't understand a word what they are saying, and they look at her and they laugh at her, that mom, you doesn't know English, you don't know anything about English, you are such a typical mom, and you don't know. How can we take you to school? Other moms are speaking in English, and embarrass us in front of the other friends or classmates. So she starts going secretly to one of the English schools, one of the English language speaking institutes, to learn English. And here she says this to she meets one of the Western man here, and he really likes her, and he doesn't care if she belongs to a Indian typical family where she's a housewife and supposed to be cooking. So this is one of the very famous sentences which I brought to your notice. And then we have this English or English a conceived phenomena by Indians, because we have actually one of the authors said, if English is here to stay, the least we Indians can do is to promote English. The best way to do language is English user friendly. Why? Because we just cannot eliminate English from our culture and language and schools, because it's there and you just can't do anything about it. You have to be we have to coexist with it. So it's better to make it English rather than just English, or you just you shouldn't lose your culture and your traditions and your language, your mother tongue. So it's better to coexist with English. And I just want to tell you a very important thing about when Indians started adopting English as English. So educated Indians basically, or they call themselves as brown sahibs. Sahib means somebody who's a big man, a learned, intellectual, reputed man is called sahib. Like here we call sheikh. So we have sahibs in India. So their brown sahibs wish to participate in academia and pursue professional careers. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, a social and educational reformer, advocated the English to be taught to Indians by certain British gentlemen for the benefit and instructions of the native Indians. Charles Grant, the president of the East India Company's Board of Control, championed the cause of English education as a cure for darkness, where darkness was Hindu ignorance. The Charter Act was passed in 1813. This legalized missionary work by the company, including the introduction of English education. By the beginning of the 20th century, English had become the unifying language in Indian struggle for independence against British. Meanwhile, English was on its way to becoming the first global lingua franca. By the end of the 20th century, it had special status in 70 countries, including India. Worldwide, English began to represent modernization and internationalization, with more and more jobs requiring basic fluency in it. In India, especially, the language came to acquire a social prestige, a class, a part of education. If you speak English in India, you belong to the upper class society, brown sahib. Which prompted native Indian or South Asian speakers to turn bilingual, speaking their mother tongue at home or in a local context, but English in academic or work environments. So that's it. Thank you so much. And we Indians started to speak so much English that we forgot what was Hindi and Urdu, and we became Hinglishized. So we are Hinglish. Thank you so much.